cave, C-A-V-E, cave. Oh, sure, I'll probably get Australopithecus. The first missing link, as they would say, the connection between primates and true humans are generally called the Australopithecines. And Australopithecus is the genus. Then there's a species name. In this case, it's Africanus. Australopithecus africanus. I know this is Latin, and they're stringing Latin words together, and that could be scary, but don't be afraid. It's just Latin. It's not some foreign, I guess it's foreign to us. But if you were Latin and I said Australopithecus africanus, what would I be saying? Australo, as in Australia. You know what Australo means? It means south. South. Pithecus means ape, and Africanus means Africa. So Australopithecus africanus is the southern ape from Africa. They found it in South Africa, therefore its name Australopithecus. At least the first were found in southern Africa. This is Australopithecus africanus. It's a facial bones of a skull found by Raymond Dart. Also found the brain cast. Brain cast is significant too because it shows the complexity of the brain. So not only is the facial angle very flat like humans, the dentition seems to be more human, and the brain size is larger. The other features look more like primates. It's a baby skull. It's the skull of a child. What's interesting, when you look at adult Australopithecines, they don't look very human. Dentition, the facial angle, they all begin to change. And so that's led to a belief that it may demonstrate something in evolution they call neoteny, and that is that as we develop in time, our development is arrested at younger and younger stages. And so when we look at baby Australopithecines, it looks like us. So we just stop developing. Or we reach a certain age, let's say 12 years old, and our skeletons stayed at that stage. And that's what we see in terms of evolution. Neoteny. Neo just means new. So it's the idea of stopping our development when we're new, neoteny. That's an interesting concept, isn't it? If that's true, evolution is not true, but let's assume that evolution is true and neoteny does take place, that allows us to predict what we'll look like in the future, right? If we look like baby Australopithecines, then what will we look like in the future? Can you do the math for me? We'll look like babies in the future. In other words, we'll be presidents of banks or whatever, and we'll look like a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old. Yeah, like on television, the Gerber baby, or what is it? The baby that does or the child, you know, the E-Trade child. Well, that's what the future holds for humanity, is that we will be adults, but we'll look like children if neoteny is the case. And we can even predict what we'll look like in the distant future when we're highly intelligent, right? What will we look like? We'll look like fetuses. And if you've ever seen a fetus, this is what it looks like. Fetus skull, they have a really bulbous head, right? Really bulbous head and a little sort of, they have a bulbous head, and then they have this sort of little triangular chin. And I'm going to find a pen that works. All right, so they have a bulbous head, a little triangular chin, and then they have these large, sort of dark eyes, right?
Now leave that up for the next class.
It's not as impressive as the Greek, is it? Maybe I could name him in Greek. So it's very likely that our view of aliens maybe come from neoteny. The sci-fi writers actually took neoteny and inferred that. Because we can recognize someone from another galaxy, can't we? Walking down the street, another star system, you see them, you know they're an alien because they got a big bulbous head, dark eyes, and a little small chin. Yeah, please.
Define neoteny.
Neoteny is it's a perspective on evolution, that evolution occurs by arresting development at younger and younger stages as things develop. It comes from neo, which means new. So it's just a newness. What we see in evolution are what creatures look like when they're new, Neoteny. And so we look like baby Australopithecines, new Australopithecines. And the inference is in the future, if that continues, if Neoteny continues, then our development will be arrested also, and our distant, our descendants will look like children, essentially. At least that's the inference.